Friends, today I'd like to talk to you about new education policy that the government, the cabinet, has approved on July 29 this year. I think education is a living topic. It's not a theoretical or utopian idea that is being debated. It's the life of the people that is at the focus. Four major concerns should be kept in mind when we talk of education. Number one, the environment or academic atmosphere of a campus in which education is to be taken. Second, access of masses into that campus. At the present, 85% people are out of higher education in our country. And school education is not adequate to bring them up to the level of self-reliance in thinking or employment. Third, education should be conducive for free thinking. There should be no pressure, no partisanship, religious, financial, political, or otherwise. So these are some major concerns that must be kept at focus. And then the content of education should be such that it generates interest to learn. It should be enjoyable. So with these in mind, let's examine into the recommendations of the Kasturi Rangan committee that has produced the report accepted by the cabinet. Number one, the atmosphere of the campus at the moment is highly prejudiced. If you belong to the ideology of the government, then all doors of appointment and advancement in career are open to you. Otherwise, you are at a disadvantage. Secondly, not only that you are out of favor, you are attacked in many campuses, including JNU and some colleges of Delhi University. There have been attacks on people. On what ground? The ground has been that those youths have been talking about grassroots problems of people, not only of the campus, but of the country, including Jammu and Kashmir. They are our own people. So if you talk truth and raise the concerns of people of our country, which must be considered to be really patriotic act, but it has been branded as anti-national, and that has been a serious problem. Many campuses in the country are devoid of atmosphere for free thinking. As far as the private colleges are concerned, the private colleges, most of them are owned or managed by the elite, economic elite, which invariably, to a large extent, is sectarian. And consequently, the atmosphere prevailing in the private institutions suffers from three problems. Number one, its ideological inclination, which is not conducive for rational and free thinking and good relationship between people of different faiths and different communities. Second, the teachers are not being paid full salaries and given excessive teaching load. And third, there is a lot of pressure from the management because of their authoritarian attitude. So this is a very serious problem there. And fourth, I may add also that there is no research environment at all, on which there is a lot of talk in this report, NEP report, but there is no analysis or understanding of this reality that in most government colleges as well as all private colleges or universities, the atmosphere for research is not available. No facilities are available, including even the journals are not accessible. Online journals are not accessible. That is the minimum for research. So this is one thing. Second thing is, they talk of culture. that students have to be, our youth have to be motivated, and there should be a focus on culture. I think this is a gross misunderstanding about the content of culture. They talk of ancient culture, but they forget the culture that has developed in India during the last 800 years, when Sufis and saints brought the religion to the doorstep of the poor. And Gandhi led the mass movement, non-violent mass movement against imperialism, with the participation of masses. I think there has never been a higher point in Indian culture ever than this. And this report has no understanding of this phenomenon. And consequently, it lays emphasis on ancient culture again and again and again. And let's understand that in last 30 years, and particularly last 6 years, there have been cases of acute violence, lynching, and all the lynchers, all the proponents of violence are glorifying the ancient culture. What kind of lessons they are learning from there? Gandhi learned very little of Indian culture, literature, scriptures, very little he read. But then whatever he read was in his life, and consequently he could lead the nation. Bhagat Singh was 23 years old. Lakshmi Bai was 23 years old. They had not read scriptures that much. Just only a few lines, a few messages from them, and that were in their life, and they could sacrifice their lives for the nation. So emphasis on ancient culture is irrelevant. Well, certainly it has some positive elements, and we should imbibe those, we should learn from there, but it's not only the text, it is the message in there that is important. Well, as far as technical education is concerned, education has two goals. Number one, to make you self-reliant in thinking, and second, to make you self-reliant in earning your livelihood. For the second part, technical education of pretty advanced level is necessary for everyone. The report suggests that it should start at early level. It should not start before 11th grade, but then there should be a comprehensive module in 11th and 12th grade, and the technical education afterwards must be accessible to all. Technical, whether it's computer education or engineering education or medical education or management education. These are professional courses that are too expensive at the moment and consequently not accessible to the people. So if you want this education to be accessible to people, its tuition should be kept low, much, much lower than the per capita income as elsewhere in the world. In Germany, it's for free. So I would like to suggest that this report, though talks about technical education, but ignores how this will be available to masses. Another important issue is about language. It talks of mother tongue, which is fine, which already people are getting education in what they are calling mother tongue. But there is a problem, especially in Hindi belt. In Hindi belt, the Hindi in the text is very different than the Hindi spoken in the marketplaces or in families. The Hindi, in families, people speak Brij bhasha, Awadhi, Urdu, Rajashtani, Haryanvi, etc. And the words, popular words of these languages can be assimilated in Hindi. It has a lot of flexibility. So mother tongue should not really imply khadi boli Hindi for Hindi-speaking people. Because Hindi-speaking people are also these Urdu-speaking people, Bundelkhandi-speaking people, and so on. And Hindi has to evolve in such a fashion that the children, when they read the text, not only the language, but the context also should be related to lives of the people. And I think if we do this, then we will encourage students to be more enthusiastic in learning. And that is very important. So I think I would like to summarize that the new education policy, though it talks of bringing foreign universities in India, which is totally irrelevant because it will cater to only top 1% or 2% people, which can afford education abroad anyway. What is required is that 750 universities, thousands of Indian colleges, they need to be taken care of in terms of supporting their research, and that can be supported only allowing mentorship with advanced labs and advanced institutes. So every college should have a linkage with an advanced institute to promote research. Teachers must be given full-time permanent jobs. This tenure track idea is relevant to the West to some extent, and they are also having problem with this. Certainly it's fatal to Indian universities. Our teachers who have been teaching for long period as ad hoc teacher, they must be given permanent positions, and the new appointments should not have more than 1 year of probation. The scheme proposes 5 years or longer periods of probation, which is fatal, which is bad. So I think if we take these issues into account, we will be creating a better environment for learning, and our education will be related to lives of people. And employment must be kept at its focus. I think with these, thank you very much.